Yo guys, how's it going? On this episode of r/Askreddit, people who have survived an attempted murder, what is your story? Had a girl cut my brake lines on my car, didn't know until we checked the camera from the apartment complex. Luckily she cut straight through them vs slitting them. When I attempted to crank the car, the brake pedal went straight to the floor and I immediately knew something was wrong. Random dude shot me in the chest because he thought I was my drug dealer neighbor. My neighbor was 6'3" and black. I'm 5'11" and white. Jokes on him, all he got were a few cigarettes, some pocket change, and 35 years on an attempted second-degree homicide conviction. My older sister tried to stab me with a large knife in an attempt to kill me on my 16th birthday. My mother grabbed the knife off her before it got my stomach and slammed her against the fridge and yelled at me to run. Last time I saw my older sister she said, "I've gotten over it and you should too. It's pathetic to hang on to it." She then told people it was self-defense because I tried to hurt her. I was literally eating my birthday breakfast. I didn't sleep properly for 2 years while she was in the house because she constantly tried to break into my room at night to slit my throat while I slept. I hate her. I delivered a pizza to a house just outside of the city. On the way back, I stopped to help a car that pulled over in front of me with their hazard lights on. I pulled up beside them and thought it was weird that nobody rolled down a window or made any kind of contact with me for around 15 seconds. The passenger then jumped out of his side of the car yelling that they needed help as he made his way toward my car. I thought something was weird about this. As I started to pull away, before he could get to my passenger door, he began shooting at me. I ducked my head after the first shot entered through the back window and embedded in my passenger seat headrest. Another shot entered through the rear window, while the other 3 only hit the outside metal parts of my car. He missed altogether with another shot. I remember being sure I was about to die as he fired more shots at me. I was very surprised that it wasn't panicky. It was just like, oh, I guess this is it. Turns out it was a plot to rob me. The pizza was ordered and the guys were stationed down the road to intercept me. They knew who I was and they knew that I would be able to recognize them as I had delivered a few orders to them before. The guy wasn't wearing anything to cover his identity, which leads me to believe that he would have shot and killed me if he would have made it inside my car. By the next morning they had all been arrested. The shooter was found guilty of attempted murder and sentenced to 40 years in prison. He later appealed that sentencing because there was a word wrong in the jury instructions. He won the appeal and ended up being sentenced to 10 years and was released November of 2010 after 5 years. The remaining 5 years were to be served as parole/probation. He was arrested twice for parole/probation violation when he was only a couple months away from total freedom. I laughed. I feel like I'm very late to the party, but my uncle was attempted murdered by random and pure bad luck. He was living in a high-rise and some crackhead pressed every single buzzer. Someone let him in out of laziness/not caring/wanting the buzzer to stop. The crackhead proceeded to knock on every single door down the hallways and my uncle is the first to answer the door. The crackhead pulls out a pair of scissors and plunges them into his throat. The crackhead then nonchalantly walks out of the building and says to a passing couple, "You should probably call the police because I just murdered someone." He was picked up very quickly and my uncle survived for a year or 2 before his epilepsy killed him. Edit: in addition, it was a very small world as my uncle went to school with this crackhead 30 years earlier and knew his name to identify him. Not that there needed any more evidence in the case. My parents moved to Mozambique during the mid-90s. I was around 8 at the time and started going to school there, a nice private one, can't complain. My father was working for the Red Cross in Chimoio, so we had a comfortable life. One day, before arriving to school with a friend of mine, some sketchy guy stopped us, offered a whole bunch of money to just take some small box to a white van that was parked at the end of the street, not even 100 meters away. My lucky day, I guessed. It actually was, but for different reasons. When I was going to go grab the box, my friend grabbed me by the shirt, pushed me, and started running, screaming, something I didn't understand in Shona, the local dialect. That moment was when it clicked. The moment I looked back, the guy had already vanished. So, wherever you are, thank you, Chewed. I will never forget you. I saw two people stab someone to death in what I assume was a drug deal gone wrong when I was on a night walk. Spent another hour being chased and hiding in a backyard so they wouldn't do the same to me. Scary night. My mom attempted to murder me and my sister when we were younger. She was going through a psychotic episode and pretty suicidal, and I said the wrong thing that set her off. She chased us down to the basement with a knife. We ran into my room and my sister hid in the closet while I tried to fight my mom off at the door. She was trying to push it open while I was trying to push it closed. It was a back and forth struggle until she put her hand in the door. I think she was trying to engage my non-violence because she thought I wouldn't shut the door on her hand, but I slammed the door over and over again until her fingers broke. Meanwhile, my dad, who was in the house, finally came downstairs to check in what was happening. Mind you, this all happened very fast and my dad has a habit of zoning out when my mom gets in her episodes. He ended up pulling her off of the door and my sister and I ran out of the house and jumped in our van. He drove around the corner and turned off the lights and we all ducked down in our seats to hide and stayed there until my dad saw her drive our other car off. Edit 1. Added fact/formatting. Fact. Why didn't you / your dad / your sister call the police? I was at the time busy with the door. My dad was at the time being negligent. My sister was at the time in a state of panic. My dad should have called the police. He didn't. 2. How old were you and your sister? I was 12. She was 13. 3. What happened afterward? My mom tried to kill herself at our cabin and was hospitalized. She and my father tried to work things out. They didn't, and it ended when I was 18 with a divorce. 4. Do you still talk to your family? Some of them. I talk to all of my siblings, and I'm very close to the sister who was with me at the event. She and I very rarely discuss this though. 5. Where are you now mentally? I'm doing much better and live half a country away. I still have PTSD from the events as well as the other abuse from my mom / other events in my life. 6. Why didn't you do A, B, or C / if I was in your situation I would have done A, B, or C. Because I didn't. I did my best at the time how I could. I survived, so I guess I did okay. 7. This sounds like Haunting of Hill House / Binding of Isaac. It's not though. I would have saved a lot of money in therapy if it were fictional. When I was a kid, probably around 2nd grade, our house got robbed and my mom and I came home while it was in progress. For whatever reason, she decided to go in and interrupt them. She grabbed her gun, didn't shoot, yelled at them to get the fuck out of my house, and then we drove off in a hurry to the corner store to call the cops. This was before cell phones. Less than 2 weeks later, my mom and I are sitting in the living room on the couch, our backs to the front door. Someone drives by and fires about 6 or 8 shots into the front of our house. Thank God for a steel front door. The cops came and said they didn't think the two incidents were related. Mine's not that good of a story. I was walking down the street and somebody missed me in a drive-by. It was like that scene in The Apartment in Pulp Fiction. Edit. Just to answer all the questions. This happened about 10 years ago near 99th RV in Lower Bucky. I'm not someone anybody on the street would feel the need to shoot, so I assume it was a random shooting. Neighbor stabbed me in the chest because I hit him over the head twice with a 10-pound weight to try to stop him stabbing his wife. However, I'm fat and the knife didn't go deep enough through my breast tissue to do any damages. Yay for being fat. He's still up for attempted murder though. It wasn't me but my uncle. When I was a kid, around a decade ago, my uncle got shot while coming out of a bar with a few friends. His friend got hit once in his shoulder but was fine. My uncle, on the other, got hit 3 times. Once in the colon, lung, and heart. By all rights the shooter had gotten him and drove away. His friends rushed him to the hospital, and, with a bullet lodged in his heart and blood entering his lung, he managed to survive. He was in a lot of pain for a long time, but since then he's gotten his life together and is getting married in about a year. Edit. I appreciate all the shot through the heart puns, Mayo. Keep them coming if you have more. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you tomorrow.